American dub was done and the way that it was directed and marketed in America, when your target audience is like, what, 8 to 14 or something? At that point in our social development, our society wasn't ready for lesbian, main cast. Wasn't really ready for lesbians at all, but definitely not in lesbian main cast. So it was easier to make up this ridiculous theory, or call them cousins, which is also for another podcast, than to accept that they might be lesbians, they might be gay.
Instead of not just doing what the original anime did and just not really address it.
Right.
Because, really, you could have just told everyone that they were best friends, and it would have been a lot better than cousins.
Yes, and we all would have read between the lines, and it would have been fine.
Now we all read between the lines and think it's incest.
Now either we read between the lines then and we thought it was incest, or we read between the lines now and think, why did they do that? One or the other. But yeah, that is a very unusual myth, but there's absolutely no way for that to be true, because there's so much, especially when you consider all sources of canon material, true canon material, there's just no way that, oh, well, that's why she dresses in boys' clothes and this is that. No, because she does dress in women's clothes, and not just a princess gown and some art pictures. She actually wears women's clothes and looks rather hot in them.
Yeah, hi! I'm not a fangirl. I'm totally lying.
You are totally lying. You are very, very much a fangirl. And even I'm a little bit of a fangirl, but honey, I've got nothing on you.
I feel special.
You should. My biggest fangirl moment was when Amanda Miller read my stuff, but that's, again, another podcast. Back on track. So do we... That's why we love them. It's because they acknowledge us. Right.
Maybe we should go to the next topic, because I can talk about Haruka and Michiru forever.
We could both talk about Haruka and Michiru forever. But yes, if we're going to keep going, we're going to take a rewind back a little bit to the R story, the R story arc, the Black Moon arc, and look at the Black Moon, the idea that has been presented that the members of the Black Moon clan are actually freedom fighters. That their ancestors were people who ended up on Nemesis. It's flat out stated that they're religious zealots, who thought that the infinite power of the silver crystal was against God and unnatural, and the long lives that it granted were, just against God's plan, and that's why they had the problems that they did with the, monarchy of Crystal Tokyo and of Earth in the 30th century. That they ended up fleeing to Nemesis after being told by wise men that if they went there, they would have ultimate power. But, there are people out there who think, well, they were just freedom fighters who were just, they were just fighting against what they saw as a tyrannical rule because, there was no way to oppose the power of the silver crystal. And that much might be true. There's not necessarily an easy way to oppose the power of the silver crystal, but there was no way that they were just freedom fighters fighting for people who didn't want to live for as long as they possibly could with eternal youth. And if you look at freedom fighters, their first action when they got to Earth, when they got to Crystal Tokyo into 30th century Earth, was to, commit mass murder. It was to kill countless people. So, because, and without any mercy, without, any remorse, anything. So, to me, that doesn't say freedom fighter. best way I could think to describe them would be to call them, religious terrorists. If you really feel like you need to put those kinds of labels on them, they were religious-based terrorists.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I blame the classic anime on this because the way it's described, it kind of sounds like she just kind of took over and said my way or the highway. But for anyone who knows the series and knows Usagi,
that's just not possible.
Right.
There's no way that Usagi would, by any means, be able. She doesn't have the ability to be a tyrant, and neither do the Senshi, including even our beloved mission-centered, fearless Outers. I don't believe that even they could be tyrants in the way that, they were. One might see that depicted if one actually needed a group of freedom fighters to fight against them. But yeah, the classic anime, it paints a really skewed picture. I mean, it makes you a lot more sympathetic towards them because it talks about them being banished to Nemesis for crimes they committed, and that they really just wanted to be home. But that's not how it really was. I mean, they did commit those crimes. They did end up on Nemesis, but they didn't just want home. They wanted to kill everybody and destroy Earth, or to go back in time and to change history so that that long life could never happen because it was against God's plan.
The only time I really felt sorry for them was, and you're gonna shoot me, was the Black Lady musical.
Well, see, I haven't seen that, so you're gonna have to explain that to me.
Okay. This had the Outers in it. It's awesome. My favorite Outers.
Okay, let's back. Focus. Don't chase rabbits.
Sorry, Nail and Yuka are awesome. But anyway, Hikari Ono, who is amazing. She's been in so many different of the old musicals. She's played Starlight. She's played Deadwood Circus People. And anyway, she played the man, and I have to go back and rewatch it. But in the musical, she's the one that saved everybody. Well, I guess the man is the one that actually saved everybody. And her performance, I cried, but it doesn't take much to make me cry.
Right.
But yeah, it's almost the same story, but just that little bit was enough to make me actually feel sorry for him. It kind of gave them the what the original anime tried to do, where they were under the control of the wise man. I don't think, if I remember right, I don't think the manga and Crystal really played that much to it.
No, not incredibly. I was just watching Crystal again the other day on my birthday. And from what I remember from what I was watching, it played that they originally had ambitions of their own, and then wise men came along and gave them powers and pulled those strings harder and shaped how all of it turned out, but the seeds were already there.
Yeah, it was. And my favorite thing about the musicals is that there was one time where I was getting make sure you're kissed.
Okay, but we're talking about the Black Moon Clan.
I had to throw that out there.
You always have to throw that out there.
You do.
And that's okay. It's why I love you.
Anyway.
As long as we're not talking about role-playing.
If you...
Want to see how long it'd take you to catch that?
You know I hate you sometimes, right?
I know. But you love me too.
Anyway. has a lot of good songs in it. And this is the band I play with a lot.
Do you have it? It's something you can find on YouTube, right?
You can find it on YouTube, or you can go to. There's 2 different websites.
Well, maybe we can, when we get our episode notes up on the website, we can include links.
I will. 'Cause I'm good at that.
So I think that would be good to include some links from that and some links that are that we have, about just in general about our topics tonight. If we can find either, I've seen some really good Senshi Shintanu AMVs that I wouldn't mind sharing. I just have to find them again.
I'm sure that's going to be a lot more work for you.
It'll be excruciating and grueling and so horrible. But yes, we do it because we want to share the joy that is Sailor Moon. So, we're kind of skipping around in the series, but, another piece that I know that we wanted to talk about, and this one probably, it's a little bit shorter of a piece, but, skipping up to the Dream Arc. There was a fan theory that you wanted to talk about, Fandina, from the Dream Arc.
Okay, I love Helenia. I think she is so misunderstood. But there's a theory that she is Queen Serenity's sister.
I've seen that in fan art a lot. Like when you see the royal family pictured together, I've seen several pieces of fan art that have her in that lineage.
Well, she's designed to look like a dark reflection of Serenity. And you can totally see it.
Yes.
But that's it. That's all there is to it. She's just designed to be a dark reflection.
Well, and I've also seen and heard, based on some of the images from the anime and stuff, the idea that they might be cousins because a neighboring kingdom.
I heard the sister more than I heard your else.
I hear the sister. I've heard the sister most, but I've also seen that theory that they might be cousins in that sense of the way that old royal monarchies worked, where your cousin might be the ruler of your neighboring country.
Right.
In this case, it would be a neighboring planet or moon or something, because they never are incredibly clear, from what I can remember, where her original kingdom was located.
Well, there is a scene in the manga where Serenity asks Helenia where she comes from. Now, if she were her sister, she'd know.
You're right, and if she were her cousin, she'd still know.
But she replies that the 2 of them share a common origin. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they come from the same parentage.
Right.
It's supposed to be meant like a general thing about light and dark coming from the same place.
Yes.
Or, they're both could be from the galaxy cauldron, which you see in stars.
Yeah. And yeah, either one of those would be appropriate symbolism and foreshadowing. So, but yeah, I don't think that I definitely don't think they could be sisters. And I wouldn't say that it's possible or it's entirely likely that they'd be any kind of relation, but definitely not sisters.
Especially because I don't know if this is canon or theory, but everything that I've ever read, the royal families only had one daughter.
Yes. Yes, I see that a lot because I like to read AUs where there is not necessarily just one daughter, or there's.
I don't read a whole lot of AUs.
I know you don't, but I love reading AUs. Like I have one that's a sailor son that is supposed to be Serenity's sister that I really love. I have one that I've been reading that's a Sailor Earth